Hello, everyone. Good to have you here. What's up, everybody? It is Photoshop's 30th anniversary or birthday.
Yeah.
And yes.
We're matching today.
Look at us.
Representing Photoshop.
Yeah, we are. So, yeah, we planned this out. It's a whole thing. Yeah, so super fun to be here. I'm Paul Trani. This is Anna McNaught. And we're happy that you're here, Joe, Preston, and Steve, and Austin, and Pokehan, and everyone. Again, it's going to be a good day. I'm really excited about today, and it has nothing to do with that I've had 2 shots of espresso and a Red Bull.
Oh man, I gotta catch up to this
and
guy.
You have your mint mojitos right over there. So we're gonna get our coffee on, and we're gonna get our Photoshop on for day 2.
Yeah, exciting things coming.
Yeah, definitely. And we can kind of click through the schedule really fast because we do have a full day. So big thank you to Kathleen as well for kicking off the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. It is day 2, so we'll review some of those challenge designs in about an hour. And we have Anna with us for 2 hours, which is fantastic. XD Daily Creative Challenge, some digital imaging with Magdeal, as well as an Adobe Illustrator challenge today as well. And thank you, Richard, for mentioning that we do have new features in Photoshop on desktop as well as the iPad. So definitely full day. And yeah, it's gonna be good. How you doing today?
Good. Yeah, I'm excited.
You ready to get this party started?
Yeah.
You got a little cardio in today as soon as the Uber dropped you off down the street and not at the Adobe offices.
Yeah, I had to walk here, so I'm a little sweaty today.
Sweating. I gotta get to the live stream.
No, I'm late. But we made it, here on time and ready to go. Just a little sweatier than usual. So.
Yeah, and that's all. And you don't need to know that.
Yeah, no one's gonna. You guys don't know.
Right? Just be like this behind the laptop. Nobody's gonna be able to tell. So, Jesus Ramirez, good to have you here as well.
Hey.
Awesome, well-known Photoshop guru.
Yes,
Speaking of gurus,
awesome.
I do like this. Let me hit R for ruler. Won't that take the rulers away?
Oh yeah.
Or am I losing my mind?
Now you lost all my. Oh, that's rotation.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
What'd you do to my Photoshop? He broke it.
I broke it. Anyways, just because I wanted everybody to see this glorious design in like sort of full screen, which we could always do by hitting tab a couple times. Did you know about this? Boom.
Ah.
So we could at least view it that way. I like how you have this one guide right there.
Just random.
You could always get rid of that or not.
Let's get rid of that.
I apologize. I'm sorry, by the way.
For what?
Everybody has their Photoshop set up like the way they like it.
I like having rulers. Specifically for this one, I had rulers. I'm jumping ahead of myself into the edit here, but so we could kind of get some things lined up.
Okay.
But I don't always do rulers, so.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, this is what we're going to be working on today. We kind of previewed it a little bit yesterday. And because it's Photoshop's birthday or anniversary, we're going to be making a little icon cake. And so my idea with this, I actually took this at a ski resort. It seems like I'm always wearing my winter jacket whenever I do these pictures because it's snowing. But my idea with it was I wanted to have the icon kind of create this birthday looking piece and not actually be a cake. I showed some people and they're like, well, why isn't it a cake? And I'm like, well, the icon of Photoshop, as Photoshop's turning 30, is now, becoming this birthday piece. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and I just it's very much you in terms of the style and the glow, and it's fun taking some creative liberties with just the whole thing glowing. I don't really know if I see it as a cake or whatever, but it's very obviously iconic, both candles as well as the mnemonic itself.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't want it to come off directly as a cake, so I think hopefully I achieved that.
I love it. I really like the color and everything, so.
Yeah, I just posted this on my Instagram like 30 minutes ago, so it's now live. And I shared some of my Photoshop journey over the years along with it and kind of some of the things I've done, as well as the very first photo that I posted on Instagram from Photoshop. If you go to my story, you'll even see when I was 5 years old. Okay. There it is.
Yeah, perfect. That's when you were 5. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Let's go back. That's awesome. And what were you telling me about this as well? Do your parents still use it?
Yeah, they still use it on all of our Christmas presents. So they always will put it on a Christmas present for me, and it will say like, "To Anna, love Mom and Dad. Remember this?" And like they keep showing me over and over.
Your parents.
And yeah,
they just sound awesome.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my very first Photoshop piece. And then if you go to the actual to my actual page, you'll see the very first image I created, like composite. So click on that one.
Oh, here we go.
And then you can click through and see some of the pieces I've made
nice
over the years.
I love it. I love that idea of just, oh yeah.
And that's the first one I ever posted to Instagram. I thought I was so cool for
Is that
doing.
Jimmy Two Take?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was pretty funny. You know, that was the Slauson Bridge in LA, and it was like the hot spot to shoot. And we were like, "Oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever!" And now we just look at it and laugh. But you know, we all have to start somewhere. So.
And it is really cool. And I'm really amazed with this like lighting over here as well that you're seeing, right? This just like that sunset.
Yeah.
Is that when I mean it's like.
And
you
that was
nailed
all
the
real.
time.
I didn't even Photoshop that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very awesome. Feel free to share your Photoshop story if you have any. Looks like Betty posts something about. Yeah. So if we have a chance today, by the way, we can kind of cover the updates to Photoshop that we just released today, as well as on the iPad if we have a chance. I actually have Photoshop 1.0 running on my laptop as well. So I could always give you a preview of that.
I really want to see that. When should we do that? Later?
Yeah, later.
Okay.
I don't want to distract from what you're doing. This is definitely your time. And I might just live stream on it in long form later today.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, that would be great. Alrighty, so we're gonna break this image down into all the little things that went into it, and I'm not gonna start from scratch right away on this. I want to kind of show you guys first what I did and like break down my layers, because yesterday we actually started from scratch with an image and worked it up, and so here I'm gonna work backwards, and then we can kind of pull things apart. If that works for everyone.
Yeah, and I love seeing like just like the original. And I think also Greg Austin asks about like inspiration. Like, I don't know where you came up with the idea of this or kind of like how this all idea originated.
Yeah, so usually for inspiration, I end up getting a lot of inspiration from, other artists, like just getting inspired by people. Like yesterday, we were all working on things after the live stream, and then also, a lot of times from Pinterest or nature. And then for me, because I've been doing this now for a while, I find that like these ideas will kind of come to me like in dreams, or if I'm driving or something and just zoning out, and I'm like, ooh, what if I did this and then put this glowing and this exploding, and then it's like the whole thing kind of comes together in my head. And so for this one, the idea of a glowing icon popped into my head, and I was like, okay, let's kind of run with this and see what happens.
And I think this is really fun. What's this device that you're holding in your hand there?
So this is a little light pack that I have. I didn't bring it into the room with me, but I know we were looking it up yesterday. It's called Boeing, or right?
Boling, is that right? Bowling? Boling? I don't know.
I forget.
But it's like basically an LED multicolor light.
Yeah, and Paul bought one yesterday.
Yeah,
so.
I did. Should be arriving today sometime. Boling.
Yes.
So yeah.
All right, so this is the original image that we took.
And by the way, I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention, like, I think something that you've shown me is like you're using actual blue light. You could have tried to use your phone and had a white light, and you have to go in and color it and all that stuff. But the more work it seems like you could do in camera, like you're doing here, just the better off you are.
Definitely,
right,
yeah. And that's something we kind of touched on a little bit yesterday. And we were trying to make headlights on the van picture. And, it was a little tough. It wasn't really working out. And so a lot of times you have to be like, well, how can I make this realistic? How can I actually take this photo and make it easier for yourself? Like Photoshop can pretty much do anything, but at a certain point you have to kind of think about what's more realistic and what's going to be easier for you as an artist. So in this case, I was like, I'm going to use a blue light. I knew, I wanted the Photoshop logo to be glowing, so I knew what color I wanted to use. If I was doing like if I made my candles orange, maybe I would have used an orange light. You know, this little light pack can go any color of the rainbow. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, no, into it. I like that. I was just reading some of the comments as well. I don't know. There's a Hal PC. I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know that. I know Hal, as in 2001's Hal. Anyways.
So yeah, this was the original, and then here I started kind of cleaning things up a little bit. So I actually, let me bring this up so our heads aren't in the way. I clone stamped out my hand here because it was getting in the way, and I'll show you guys what I mean. And then I had to remove my lift tickets because everything was, it was just sticking out of my pocket. So, so if you see here, then I added in this hand, and let me just remove the layer mask there. So I did this as a 2-shot image where I did the one photo of my hand, or of my face holding the light, and then I did it of my hand holding the light down onto the hand, so that I could create the glow from the icon and then the glow coming up into my face. So, and James, my husband, is my lovely photographer for this, and he helps me out, and I'll be like, okay, how's this angle look, you know? So always working with people is really helpful too.
Yeah, it's very cool. But I think this just opens up new doors, just like, adding this multicolor LED light. You're like, I'm sure when you first got it, you're like, wow, I could do so many cool things.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
All of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, I can make anything glow.
Yeah, really into it. Like, helps with your stuff. Just being on this live stream, working with Meg DL as well, who's going to be here later today. Like, hearing him introducing us to new things as well is like super fun. So that's why I'm glad everybody's here.
Yeah.
He was talking about Glichet, which is a mobile app, Cinema 4D, and that's what honestly, like, I work for Adobe, but like Creative Cloud, with Creative Cloud, we give you like dimension and all these things, and I think you get really creative when you start adding new things to the mix.
Yes.
Rather than maybe just Photoshop is great, but trying out new things, whether it's hardware or software.
I completely agree, and I feel like that makes your work stronger when you're bringing all these different things into, you know, one piece or multiple pieces. All of a sudden, it's like, super cool.
And it's super cool. So yeah, you have this. You cut out your hand.
Yes. So you can see here why I cloned my hand out of the background. So it was kind of coming up. So if you see my hands like coming up to my face, and then when I put the other hand in, you could still see the hand in the first image. So I just cloned that out, and then I actually replaced this zipper completely. So we can do that if you guys want, but I just copied this zipper here and put it over here. Let me just turn so you can see like that. And then I just used transform, warped it into place, and gave it a little curves. So, you know, there's still a few little tweaks that could maybe be made here, but it was good enough for what I was trying to get done.
Yeah.
So.
Totally. Yeah, it looks natural. I didn't even know you did anything on that side of your jacket. And
Awesome.
that was your goal, was just to make it not look distracting.
Yeah,
right?
and that's something like to keep in mind for you guys. Like, I notice all the time if I'm trying to clone stamp something and it's just not working, I'll look for another area in the image that has a similar object, like for example this zipper, and I'll just copy it, and then I'll kind of warp it into place and then add an adjustment layer to darken it or brighten it, whatever needs to be done to the image. So you're not like clone stamping every little thing.
Yeah. And in this case, actually, I would like to know how you did, like, and maybe you can just do it really fast for the zipper. Just jump in and do it really, act like that doesn't exist, because I think it's going to bring up some, and just talk through it.
Let me just save this as a copy so I don't start messing with my original.
All right.
Alrighty. So I'm going to turn this off, and let's see. So what I did here is I just selected my zipper. Make sure I'm on the right layer here, on the background layer, and then just Command C for copy, and then Command V for paste. So I'm just gonna drag this up here, and then drag the zipper over, just like that. So we can see if you do it like that, that looks a little bit weird, you know, it's kind of like what's happening here. So you could go to edit, transform, and then actually flip it horizontal if you want. So we now kind of have that dual zipper look going on. And then you can start to kind of warp it into place. So just a little bit here.
Do you use warp a lot?
I do sometimes, yeah. And then I also like to play with the grid and changing that. I know that was an update with Photoshop 2020.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can change, the size of your grid. So sometimes if you do too many points on your grid,
it's too much of a pain.
But then you can also add your own points.
I've been doing that a lot, and I love adding your own points too.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of what you're doing, which is like just give me the beziers in the corners.
Yep, exactly. I like that better because then I can kind of just like pull things into place the way I want them. But sometimes I might I'm holding down Alt or Option here, and then clicking and adding another point.
Yeah, because that's good. You clicked and added another point because you're stretching out the zipper a little too much, but you need to match up the seams and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. Into it.
So then I kind of just get it to look semi-good and then add a layer mask. And then with a black brush and a big flow or a high flow to start at 100%, I just get rid of those hard lines. And you can kind of like do this roughly just to start, and then I'll go in with a low flow and then just start to paint that zipper out. So to just kind of get those folds
it's
of
like
jacket.
a little, it gets like a little hot in parts, but in general, this is exactly that's what I would do.
Yeah, it's like really, really useful when you're trying to replace something or fix something, or of course it's better if in the moment I took my lip tickets off and fixed the zipper, but sometimes you don't think of those things. So so then now that I have it layer masked out, you just kind of continue to match it so that things start to look correct.
Yeah,
and it looks pretty good. All right, let's see. And then let's just add some curves to that and clip it down, and I'm just gonna darken it a little bit. So you can see just by adding the curves too that it automatically starts to look like it belongs on that side of the jacket. And you can kind of get away with like not making this look perfect because no one's gonna notice.
Yeah, exactly. Right already, and this is perfect. It was quick. Easy to do.
Yeah,
exactly. A little distorting, a little warping.
All right, so then we started to get into, first what I did was I masked out this hand. So we now have our kind of final composite image, and I can show you guys that if you want to see it. It was just super easy. I kind of just basically, let's just look at this mask real quick. I just left the area of the hand where it was. So nothing fancy. I didn't cut the hand out. I just blended it in. Do you think we need to do that, or that's pretty?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Okay,
because it's kind of what you did with the zipper already.
Yeah, exactly.
And luckily with your jacket with all the folds, just like with organic materials, it's easier to blend one into the next.
Right.
So it's pretty. That worked out pretty well.
Awesome, yeah. It works well when you have two pictures that match. Much easier than when they don't match. So then I just added some adjustment layers. So just a simple little curves to brighten everything up in my face, and then a little bit more of curves. And I actually want to show you guys these curves because they're kind of cool. So I'm going to leave the color balance. I just did this to give it more of like that teal look. And I'll just open this up for you. So you can see I went very cyan here. So let's just go, I'm gonna delete these curves layers, and I'm gonna go ahead and add a new one. And I'm clipping this to the Anna folder where it has the background image and the zipper and everything we've done so that it can all blend into one. And we kind of talked about that yesterday, actually clipping adjustment layers to the folder rather than to each piece of the image, and I think that works really well for this.
Vilentas says if you use the blend if that often.
That's exactly what I was gonna just show. He ruined it.
No, it's on you. You two are synced up.
Oh yeah. So that's exactly what I was gonna show. It's like something I use so often, especially for doing any sort of glow images like this. And so I'm going to just brighten this up a little bit here by clicking in the middle of the curves. And maybe even, let's see, add a little bit of highlights, and then I'm going to invert it.
And you're working on what layer? Is it like...
I'm working, I need to clip that. So,
is it just affecting what part?
It should be affecting, I don't know why it's not grabbing that hand. Maybe the hand's not in the folder. Let's see. But it should be affecting this entire Anna folder here. So it should be affecting the zipper and the background and the hand.
Yeah. I don't know if the hand's in
I know, it doesn't look like it's...
And then...
It's in the folder, but it doesn't seem to be getting...
I wonder if... So, like, scroll... Like... So, that curves layer, if you look at it, it's all black. Is it supposed to be all black?
Yeah, I inverted it.
Oh, you inverted it.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, so I'm inverting that so we can paint back into it. Same thing as we kind of did yesterday.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to paint with white and just gonna have like a low flow in here and kind of start to paint that brightness that we just created in the curves. Paint some things in here and a little on my face. And you can kind of be a little messy about this because we're gonna do blend if. All right, let's see. Okay, so then once you get the curves or whatever you're working on, whether it be color balance or curves or exposure, then just double click on the curves layer and you come into these blending options here. And then this blend if is amazing. So it's gonna blend the underlying layer here. That's what we're gonna work on. And if you just drag this little caret down here, it starts to look really weird and blotchy. And it's like, what is happening? But if you hold down Alt or Option, then you can separate these carets and actually get like a really nice smooth transition. So what this is doing is it's only applying the curves adjustment layer that I just did to the areas that are bright, and it's avoiding those shadow areas. This is like one of my favorite things because it's like so easy to start to paint glow because then you're not getting it into those little shadows. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me because, again, when you first grabbed it, harsh lines, you see those harsh lines, you did an Alt click, right? Or Option click to split it.
Yeah.
And then you can make those smooth transitions.
Yeah, and that thing is amazing because when I first started using this, I knew people use this all the time, and I'm like, why is this not working? It always makes everything look blotchy. And it's just that little trick of holding Alt or Option. All right, so just gonna blend that a little. And then you could even do it like extremely, you know, a lot more. So like, what am I trying to say? And so what we're gonna do here is just start to add some intense highlights to the hair and to the face. So we'll add curves again, and we'll bring it up. And we can kind of push it to where it doesn't look good, you know, because we're just gonna be painting those highlights back in. And then I'm gonna go Command I to invert it and make sure it's clipped. So same thing that we just did, we're just gonna paint in areas that we'd want really extreme highlights.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with Steve. Says the Option key is magic. Because it is.
It
like,
really
if you ever
is.
think about like, oh, I wanna do this, but I want a different, literally a different option for it. Literally hold down the Option key. Chances are it's actually there. So think logically, and if we're doing our job at Adobe, then that functionality should be built in.
Totally.
Yeah, we have some fun things that were, some pretty cool things available for Photoshop.
Yeah.
On the desktop.
Let me know whenever we want to get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I will set some of that up just so people know. Yeah. If you're painting that, I can do it.
Okay, yeah.
Do some of this stuff. All right, so we'll just switch over to me. And again, less than 5 minutes for just the random, not so random chat and win. Just so you know. Oh. I'm sorry.
It's on your screen.
Oh, it is. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I was like, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry I messed with this, Paco. I'm sorry. But right in here, if you go into, we have content aware fill. So you could select something. Let's just select this bird, edit, go into content aware fill, which is under edit, and use the sampling brush. But basically it does it automatically. You actually showed this yesterday, by the way. Let's go to auto. Right, it's automatically selecting. I would say the big new thing here is the fact that we have this apply button right down here. So you can say, hey, you know what? We want a new layer. We just want to apply this patch to make that bird disappear, and maybe make this bird disappear as well. Apply it, and that makes a new layer in the background, right? Right up here. Make a new layer as well. So apply that a couple times. I could basically, this allows me to kind of like get rid of all the birds. And wait for it. Wait for it. And then also get rid of some of the flowers. So you never have to leave this interface when it comes to content aware fill. Okay, so that's all I'm doing. I'm selecting all of these birds just like that. Right, and when I click apply, it does that. But I can come down here and get rid of this flower down here, for instance. This would typically mean you'd have to exit out and come back in because you need a different sample area, right, to sample from. But here I can go ahead and output that as a new layer, just click apply. Anyways, I'll just click OK, and what we have in here is everything. It's like all of these moves done like basically within that one interface. So that's just like one feature. I'll show you one. Oh, you got some other stuff. But I also want to show you, like, we also have like lens blur, which is awesome.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just really fast, because
Yeah.
I don't even think that was that compelling.
No, I think that's
okay.
I think that's huge.
Okay, there's cooler stuff.
All right,
You ready?
let's do it.
This is super fun. So this actually just rendered this in Adobe Dimension, by the way. It doesn't have any depth or anything like that. You could use your iPhone if you want to, because you actually capture a depth map. That depth map is actually right here. I made that my layer mask. Okay, just showing you that right there. I'll have to show you how to do that later.
Yeah,
but now
like,
this.
what?
Yeah, I'll have to show you. To be honest with you, I like recorded a video on this last week and I completely forgot how to do it. So I have to consult my own video. Like, how did
I've done that before too.
I think it was a drag, but I'm like, I don't know if I know all the details. We'll go into lens blur, but right up here we want to make this depth map. We're going to make the source is going to be that layer mask that I made.
Whoa.
Okay? So now I can select this spot, focus on this. We can play with the focal distance. So I'm clicking right here. That could actually be more intense. That could be a lot more intense. Could be a lot more intense, actually. Let's set this focal distance down. There we go. Okay, there we go. I set the focal distance down, by the way. I click right here. I'm actually changing the focus of that specific, of this image, basically. So that's kind of
so
what's
cool.
going on. This layer mask should be set, and you get the idea. So there's more. I'll show a little bit more later because we also have Photoshop on iPad. I'll switch back to you because I think yours is looking pretty good.
I think I'm gonna have
buying you some
to
time.
learn all that lens blur stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I swear, every time Photoshop comes out with an update, I'm like back in Photoshop preschool trying to learn stuff all over again. But
School.
I really feel like, oh, chat and win time.
All right. Well, yeah, let's dive into this. We got chat and win. Just go ahead and say something in chat, and you can win some free stickers right now.
Well, let's see who won. Paul is busy eating, so.
I don't know what you're talking about. Welcome back, everyone. You're doing it right. You're just saying something in chat. Basically, all we're doing is giving you a chance to win some free stickers from Sticker Mule. Be like, hello, happy birthday, Photoshop. Whatever the case may be. As long as it's in English, so we know it's not a cat walking on a keyboard. Okay, so that's the plan. We'll pull a name at random, and it's just our way to say thank you for hanging out with us. You will get 100 free stickers that we will just, Anna and I will show up at your house and just start slapping them all over.
Put them all over
Then we giggle and run away. That's basically
it sounds like kind of fun. Can we do that?
Yeah, I want to just a bunch of Photoshop.
We should do it to someone.
We giggle and run.
Perfect. In our blue shirts.
In our blue shirts. Yeah. Congratulations to Joseph.
Yeah.
Joseph Girardi. You're gonna get tagged by stickers.
We're gonna come to your house.
We're coming to your house. So just put your address in chat. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, that is weird. We don't need your address, but it's a big thank you to Sticker Mule because they're awesome, and a gift for everybody. You get 10 stickers for $1. Something you make in Photoshop, something you make in the Illustrator live stream later today, whatever the case may be. Yeah. There's the URL right there. So,
alrighty.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Brian.
So many nice things coming into the chat right now. It's so great to see everyone being all friendly to each other and
being nice. They're like, yeah, congrats, Joseph. Yeah, I'm really glad you won and not me. Just joking.
Super upset.
It's all sarcastic.
So great. All right, so now let's start making this icon because that's really what this is about, and no one cares about my hand or my jacket. So we got this pretty little cube.
Into it.
I don't know what's happening here. Maybe let's see. Oh, I have my layer mask on. Bear with me one moment, please. There we go. Okay, so I actually enlisted my brother to create this cube for me because I was struggling with Photoshop's 3D aspect, and maybe we can even work on that a little bit today if you want. So you can build 3D shapes in Photoshop, but you know, sometimes it's a little tough. So yeah, I just was like, hey Evan, can you make a cube for me? Can you make it have round edges? And can you make it Photoshop's color? And this is what he gave me, and it's perfect because he matched it to the angle of the photo too, and that's so important. Yeah,
that is really good. And you bring up a good point because I know some people were mentioning, you know, they might know Lightroom, they might know like Illustrator, they might know the photo aspects of Photoshop, but there's like many different levels of it. I think with Magdill working later today, he takes more of a graphic design approach to Photoshop.
Definitely.
So anyways, it's cool that you're able to tap into a resource. This looks perfect, by the way, in terms of the lighting and...
Thanks.
Did you add some of that to
Yes,
it?
I did. I'm going to turn that off
and
delete that so we can get into that because I have some fun things to show you guys. Do you want to do 3D first or?
Very cool. Yeah, I totally can. So you can see right here. Oh, good Lord. Okay, so I just did a simple shape, by the way. Obviously, it's blue. I could just as easily do the Photoshop logo. We'll go to Window. I usually like using this 3D panel. Right here, and you want to make a 3D extrusion. Okay, you could also do some basic shapes in there, but we'll do a 3D extrusion of this layer that I have selected. Just click Create. It's going to create it, and we'll see it here in a second. Here it is. To be honest with you, like, I don't know why it's been, I think I have a problem with my preferences or something. It usually doesn't come out so dark. Yours should actually come out just fine. I'm just going to crank up the color so everybody can see it a little bit better. But anyways, it's all about this new 3D panel. So it's like, oh, we want to adjust the current view, right? That's what we're doing right now, okay? So we'll do something at an angle, kind of mimic the angle you had. We'll go to this rectangle right here, and it's all about just keeping track of these different layers that you have selected. If you don't see something, just be mindful of what layer you have selected, and then you want to go over to the Properties panel. From here, what we want to do is we want to be able to actually control the bevel. Right, because we kind of like want to round the corners like you had. We'll just go in here to contour. You know this stuff already because it's just like anything else in Photoshop. As we select that and we increase the width, by the way, we're thickening that up. And let me just rotate it around so everybody can see it a little bit better, which means adjusting the current view, but it actually did make that, give us that bevel, right?
That's
We can see it right there. Obviously, the front inflation material is different from the extrusion material, so the extrusion material can also be, you know, whatever color we want. Make that teal, you get the idea. But that's kind of the fundamentals of it. And the cool thing is you could render this out. You can actually export this out and bring it into Dimension. Because I know there's like way better textures and materials in Dimension than there are in Photoshop. So I would just export this out as a OBJ is what I would do. Bring that right into Dimension and apply those those materials and the lighting and all that fun stuff. So you get the idea.
That's so
And
cool.
that's how you'd end up with just exactly what you have here.
Yeah.
Which is this.
Yeah.
Although you're adding more to it.
I love that. I don't know anything about 3D, so I feel like that's something that I really hope to learn in this next year or something. But yeah, good little lesson there. Love it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Honestly, like the controls aren't that much different once you're in Dimension, which is nice. So whether you're using 3D in Photoshop or Dimension, it's very similar.
Awesome. All right, so let's make this cube glow. So we are going to double click on it and go into our blending options. So some of you may know that, you know, one of the best ways to kind of make objects have a little bit of a glow is by using outer glow. And so we'll just turn that on, and I already have it set. We'll just reset it to default here and add a little adjustment. So let me just zoom in on our cube. And we're going to just change this color to kind of match our teal here. We can even come over and match it from the color picker, or I think with this I want to go a little bit lighter. And so we can just play with the opacity and the spread on this, the size, and kind of start to get that glow starting. Let's see. So we'll just leave it like that for now. And then I actually discovered this way to start creating even more glow through using drop shadow, which was really, really awesome. So let me just add a regular, let me see. So this is what a drop shadow normally looks like in terms of setting. It's gonna obviously add a shadow to whatever you're working on, but you can also change the function of it and turn it completely into a glow. So I did this here using linear light. And you can see that I just changed the blend mode to linear light and then picked kind of a blue color.
Love it.
And then just played with all of the glow functions. So I keep the distance right behind the cube so it's not coming off to the side. And then you can play with the spread and the size, and you can see how that creates like this beautiful natural glow.
I love that use of linear light too. I love it's a variation in color now, which it looks so good.
Yeah, I feel like it works so much better than outer glow by itself. I like to use outer glow to kind of start to get like that rim light, and then use drop shadow to really start to create the basis for it. So then you can just click this little plus icon here and add even more of them. So I like to layer it completely on top of each other. So if we just turn another drop shadow on here, again, same exact thing. I just did linear light, picked a color, and you can kind of play with this and pick like any color you want. You can see we start to get like a purpley glow here. This works every way you want to do it.
It's so interesting that, like, I just find it fascinating, like, why can't you you're basically using drop shadow to add more outer glows. Why can't you just add more outer glows, Photoshop?
I know. There's no plus icon
anybody at work at Adobe here? Like anybody else? Does anybody work at Adobe? Like, because honestly, almost all they really need to do, I'm probably simplifying, it's basically the same thing. Drop shadow and outer glow are the same thing.
That's so true.
Like, unless there's something on the hood that makes it different.
I know.
So they just really just need to change that name and add a plus button.
Yeah, let's do that, Photoshop.
Yeah, let's do that, Photoshop.
Love it.
But your layering is looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's a bit intense right now. I'm kind of like really like blowing it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then at the end, I usually like to add on top of everything, and I might not do it for this, but I like to add a vivid light just to give it like even more. And you don't have to do vivid light. You could do another linear light, but it kind of helps to give that extra push to the glow. And we're gonna even continue to paint that glow out even more. So I think I'm gonna turn this off. I don't want it to be too obnoxious, and just check back in with these and make sure they're kind of looking good.
To answer your question just real fast, Michelle, if you click on the environment, if I could just do this, it takes 2 seconds. Environment, and then change the color. It's the color of the environment is usually set to black, and that's why it's so dark. So just bring that up to medium tone, and that will fix any sort of black shapes for 3D if you're having that issue. And yes, Michelle, that's actually Jan Eric. Yeah. What's going to happen in another 30 years with, like, you know, we're going to be celebrating Photoshop's 60th birthday.
Whoa. And then I'm going to be turning 62. Oh my God.
Hey, today we're going to bring back Anna McNaught
Oh God.
for Photoshop's 60th birthday.
That seems like a long time from now. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you're going to be 60.
Wow.
What? This is crazy. We'll be like, I remember when we were young and full of life back there when it turned 30.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Oh. All right, so now let's start making this into Photoshop. We got our little cube here. We had some outer glow added to it, a little drop shadow. I went back to the original one that I had just because I really spent some time to work on that, but same exact technique, just added outer glow and a drop shadow. All right.
Now you're going to map that on there, huh?
Yes. So that's super fun. Let's see if I can do it live. It took me a while.
I will say one thing I do before you start distorting this is I'd convert it to a smart object.
Okay. And let's make a copy of it.
Yeah, make a copy. When you convert it to a smart object, when you start bending and distorting it, it will remember those distorts.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I hate it when you go to transform something. It's already skewed, but it thinks it's a square.
Yes. Yeah, that's not fun.
So a smart object eliminates that.
So here you can see the one that I did, got it into place, and just added a little drop shadow to it to kind of, let's see, make it look like it was pushing into the icon. So we'll work on that too. I actually separated these from the layer so I could do a double drop shadow and then add, well, there we go. It's like, where'd it go? And add some extra glow to that too. So getting ahead of myself there, but all right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just actually get rid of the blue border. I don't need that because I'm gonna be blending it right in. So I'm just gonna click my magic wand tool, select that blue, and I'm just gonna delete it because I don't need it. I don't need to layer mask it. And let's make it a smart object. And then let's start sizing it. So do you know of a way to make it snap to this shape, or should we just go through the transforms?
Just go through the transforms.
Okay. I'm like,
I think there might be with perspective grid, but it's
know.
almost too much. I would rather just eyeball it.
Okay, cool. So first what I'm gonna do is sometimes...
Is that okay?
Yeah.
That's okay.
I don't know how to make it snap to the box either. I think there's a way to do it.
You could set up a perspective grid should do it.
Okay.
But I haven't done that in a while. And honestly, it's such a simple shape, we should be able to just distort it.
Yeah.
But yes, you do have to distort live. I would actually use distort and not perspective. Or what are you going to use?
I was going to start with perspective warp, but you want to try distort?
You do whatever you want. Like, I know, I would just muscle it in there using distort.
Okay, let's try
You could do it whatever. I haven't used perspective
Let's show
warp.
both, actually.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
I haven't used both.
Okay, so we're gonna go to edit perspective warp because this one, I feel like a lot of people don't use this that often, and it's what?
Show me.
Oh,
I'm excited.
It's like, what's
I never
happening?
use it.
And it's really cool because you can just click and drag your mouse around the subject matter that you want to put into your perspective, and then click return, and it turns into this ready for perspective thing. And so then you can really play with your perspective here. And I think this is awesome for when you're working in, you know, a space like this where you have this cube that you can line it up perfectly. So I'm just gonna zoom in And then I'm just gonna drag these points to get them to kind of match. And my computer is a bit slow here, so it's not rendering as fast as it should. But I'm gonna just kind of get this into place. And so it starts to look a little bit weird as you're working on it, and you just have to keep kind of tweaking it, and then maybe even we'll do distort and get things to look right. So we have these nice straight lines of the cube, and we want to try to match that. And when I first did this, I actually accidentally went over the bevel here in the highlight line, and it looked really weird. And I was like, I don't know what I did here. I don't know why this looks so strange. And my brother was like, you messed up.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Just loading up.
Yeah, my brother was like, you went over the highlight line. So that's something you have to pay attention to. Like, where are these shadows in this cube? Where are the highlight lines? Like, where are things that are going to make it look more realistic? All right, so I'm just kind of tweaking this into place. And all we want to do is really get it to like a pretty good place. And then we can kind of tweak it a little bit more. So let's go now to edit. Distort. Let's try that. Oh, it snapped back. Is that normal?
So you
look at like when, let's go back to that. When I go to distort, it goes back to how it was. Is that because it's a smart object?
Oh, maybe the smart object screwed it up. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Should we take it out of a smart object?
Yeah, I think so. Just that was my suggestion.
That's a good suggestion though. I feel like it's important to do that. And then maybe if you do have it as a smart object, then you can perspective warp it and distort it in a different window, in its own window, so that it sticks to that.
Sorry for blowing out everybody's headphones with a big loud sound. Yeah, I did. There we go. It's off. I'm so sorry.
Paul's messing things up
Chris.
today.
I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I hate that noise. It's like an alarm.
I know. What is that?
I will shut off a movie if there's ever like an alarm sound in it. No, I'm gonna shut it off. That's Photoshop. I'm launching Photoshop 1.0.
So now I'm just using skew to kind of get this into place. It's looking a bit weird, but you can see how if you take the time to kind of play with this and start to get it into place and line up all your edges, and that's why I was using rulers to make sure things were straight and looking good, then you can really get it into place. So I'm just gonna turn that one off and turn my good one on where I really worked on it. And you can see we are actually pretty close here. We just have a little bit of tweaking to do. So let me turn that on. And then what I did here was I actually got rid of, or I separated the PS in this icon so that we could make it glow. So I just went like that, and you can see now it's starting to create more of a glowing icon effect.
That's nice.
So to do that, all I did was I used the magic wand tool, selected, gotta make sure I'm on the right layer, selected the P and selected the S, and then copy, paste, and then it's on a new layer. And now I can make that glow on its own. So you can see, same exact thing that we did with the cube here. We just added an outer glow. Let me turn these off. Outer glow, drop shadow, drop shadow.
Yeah. Lighten it up. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if, so another thought is like, does it, because the dark area isn't glowing. Should there basically be some of this light spilling onto this around the edges?
That's a good idea.
Does it need an inner glow? I don't know. I'm asking.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think of that. That's something we could play with too, if you want.
Yeah, just for fun. If it's as simple as jumping into those settings.
Yeah, let's open it up. So we'll go to inner glow here. And then let's try linear light too. See if that works. Change that to match our color. Yeah, so we can start to kind of...
So yeah, what do you think, Steve, Michelle, Fruit Pixels, Madison? we're basically like having some of that light, because it's basically this light is spilling onto the black. So should this light be slightly spilling onto it just ever?
Now I have to delete my Instagram post and start over.
No. I know. No, I know. Like Meg Dill was helping me with my design yesterday, and I'm like, I got to delete my Instagram post. He just blew my mind.
I know.
Like, oh, I got to change things.
Oh man, it's so upsetting. But that was a great idea, and this is like the power of
honestly,
working in
like,
teams.
Hardly, it's not even that noticeable, but yes.
It looks cool though. So we'll add that for this one. Let's see. Let's keep the linear light. Maybe we bring the opacity up a little bit. We don't want to overpower it, but we just want to add a little touch. And maybe we'll even make this like a bit more kind of greeny teal glow. All right, that looks pretty good. And then let's see. So I'll turn on this outer glow and then this drop shadow too. So you can see, and just like, let's zoom in. So you can start to see we get that kind of edge look. And all I did to make it a separate layer is just control click or command click on, let's see, what am I doing here? Control click on your layer and then go, where is it? You can actually create a layer out of it. Why am I not seeing it?
You're trying to create a layer out of that, out of what?
Out of these. Oh wait, maybe I need to.
Oh no, you were right. You were in the right spot. If you go back to the bigger menu, because you want to make. What do you want to do? You want to make those into actual layers.
Yeah, there we go. Found it. Okay. Sometimes I'm still like, where is this thing?
Yeah, go ahead. I guess I haven't used it. I haven't done create layers.
Yeah. So if you have all these like blending mode effects over here, then you just control click on the effects and go create layers and click OK. And then what it does is it actually makes layers out of those effects. And so that way you can layer mask them out, you can move them around, you can do double effects. So if you're doing a drop shadow, you can't get like a drop shadow on both sides. It won't let you do it. Mm-hmm. So you have to create a layer and then copy it.
Okay. So Pokehan, Jan Eric, was that? Jan Eric asking about particle effects to the glow. Like little particle-y things, like little sparkles. Is that what you want?
So if we did...
We hear you, Pokehan.
How would we do that? Like a dissolve or...
Yeah, well, I mean, I would do, it would come down to, I think it come down to painting.
Yeah.
Like adding some little dots and, you know, potentially using a brush set to random size and distribution and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's...
I used to be able to do this thing, I can't even remember how to do it now, where you would add a mask to a picture and like paint the edge of it and then do like particle separation or something, and it would like spray the mask everywhere.
Oh, that's I
remember it was like a popular style for a while where people were like taking, you know, I took someone's shoulder and like blew it out. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do it anymore though.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, that those sort of particle effects. But like little, like, you know, like fairy dust particle sparkles.
That would be cool.
Like that.
Yeah, we could even add that on later.
We could do that. That would be an easy thing to do because we could always even make our own brush, but we could do that with one brush fairly quickly.
That would be cool.
So we should try it.
Should we do it now?
Yes, I think we should totally do it now.
Okay.
That's why this is live. And people are like, give us our dusty sparkle particle thingies.
All
so
right.
just make a new layer with a white brush. Yeah.
All right, I'm here to learn too.
Okay.
Let's do it.
And then open up brush settings. Okay, so click on scattering beneath it. Increase the scatter at the top. Like that.
Ooh.
And then we also need to go up above that to shape dynamics and play with the size jitter. So crank that up, and that should vary the size.
Ooh, I'm loving it already. Looks like little...
And here's another thing we do. Let's play with the color dynamics. And we're going to do a hue jitter as well. This is always something we're gonna have to play with. But basically it should bounce between your foreground color and your background color. So that's how you'd pick it. It would go from white to teal or something like that.
That would be awesome.
But we kind of have this already like set up now. You could always crank down the size a touch because we want it to be smaller or whatever.
Okay.
So we could try to click and usually you gotta go with and then just try to click once or a couple. Like you'll typically get something like that, especially since you and I use trackpads and mouse. But you can click like once or twice. Like, or just like you could just make a little splotch here, a little splotch there, and play with it. This look like we're not getting the color thing that we want.
Yeah, I wonder why it looks like it's coming up.
Apply per tip. Turn off apply per tip. I think is that it? I don't know. We just got to play with this. Like, just click around and see if we've changed the color at all. Because it is in color dynamics. So you have it.
What if we make this a color?
There we go. Crank that up all the way. Okay. It's not apply. It's definitely in this setting, though.
Okay.
So just maybe turn off apply per tip.
Turn it back on?
Yeah, or turn it back on. Now paint. Okay, nothing.
Does anyone know how to make it colorful?
I guess I could try. I'm pointing at your laptop. It's not like... Like I don't have one in front of me. That's my problem.
This is the perfect example, though, of how, sometimes no matter what your skill level is, you'll get into Photoshop, you'll have to just play around. And that's what I rediscovered yesterday, is sometimes playing around in Photoshop is such an incredible way to learn, because you end up getting stuck in your ways, and I get stuck in doing things a certain way and forgetting that there's so many other options out there, and you can flip a tool on its head and completely give it a new meaning. Exactly what we were doing yesterday, and I think that's so awesome.
Exactly.
Oh, you got it to work.
Yeah, it's kind of it's not quite doing it because I have the hue jitter set up. There we go. Oh, okay, it's set up now. Fine. I don't know. We'll have to check your settings versus mine.
Someone said take off transfer.
And I'm gonna take the size down. I'm gonna bring up the hardness. Take the size down some more. Just so you can see it a little bit better. Oop. Basically, so these are my settings. So color dynamics, apply per tip, foreground and back. So bounce between the foreground and the background, 100%.
Okay.
Hue jitter, I have taken that down all the way because it was giving me all these crazy colors. We don't want to play with it really anything else. But those are like the little dots that we're getting now, and it's bouncing between my foreground and background color.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
it was the hue jitter.
Woo! Yeah, so it is. We're somewhat doing it. From there, you can play with...
Whoa.
Yeah, see, there you go. Perfect. You're bouncing between different colors.
You know what it was? It's the purity. That's what controls the color aspect. So if we turn the purity all the way down to 0, it's black and white. If we turn the purity all the way up, then you get these colors.
Love... And yeah, that's another thing. Like, crank up that... See, already, like, you're getting some nice effects. And... like, the nice thing is like once you have this squared away, you can save this brush as your particle brush. Thank you, Michelle. Crank that jitter up. Crank that jitter up. Guccio as well. Yeah, color dynamics will bounce between the different colors. You're bouncing in between different sizes. And it probably doesn't even take that much. But yeah, you got it.
So this is super cool. You could play with kind of some little like fairy dust in here.
Yeah, thank you. Steve's right. Purity is kind of a misnomer, I guess, there.
Yeah, I'm like, what a random thing.
Yeah.
So funny. Okay, so...
and there are so many free Photoshop brushes out there. There's almost too many, but I know there are particle brushes out there that you could also use.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that you can just make your own, too. Mm-hmm. You know, you can kind of like paint a whole bunch of little dots and then turn it into a brush, and that becomes your fairy dust or however you want to do it.
And you can, you get the idea.
Yeah. All right, so now that we have our cube in place, we have our Photoshop icon all ready to go. Next, what I did is I just masked out this icon here so that my fingers showed through again, so that it looked like it was placed in my hand and not just floating on top. So let me show you that again. I'm not gonna get into the masking. Hopefully you guys know how to do that, but if it's just like that, and then adding the hand so that it looks like I'm actually holding it. And right now it looks weird, but we'll start to add some glow to the fingers and start to make this look more realistic. Alrighty. So let's add the candles. Super fun here. We still have an hour left and we're almost done with this, but we'll find things to talk about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You heard that beep. I got Photoshop 1. I got all sorts of things. I got so many things.
Okay, so I'm gonna just turn these candles off and let's see if we can remake these, because I'm trying to remember exactly what I did.
Yeah, this is interesting.
So let's.
Because that flame is like, you have the candles, but then you have the flame as a whole other element that you got to play with.
Yeah, and I like broke this down into a bunch of different pieces, and I'm gonna have to remember exactly how I did it. So this will be fun.
This will be fun.
This will be fun. Okay. Let me just organize this over here. So I just got these candles off of Adobe stock, and these are perfect for this, and we're gonna colorize them and make them look cool. So the first thing I want to do is let's first copy this, and I'm just gonna turn the copy off, and this one is going to be our flames, and this one's gonna be our candles. So with the candles, what I want to do is I want to come over to properties, and I want to make sure I'm on my selection tool, and let's just use that beautiful remove background tool that Photoshop has now given us. One click of a button, and it didn't do its job.
Uh-oh. Oh, did you? What did you do?
Let's see.
Were you doing remove background?
Yeah. Why doesn't it want to remove it from the candles? We're having some Photoshop issues today.
Oh, it did most of it. I mean, it did what it could with one click.
Okay. Well,
I'll usually try it. If it doesn't do it, I'm like, okay, well, I didn't lose any. It didn't really cost me anything to click that button.
Yeah. So
And
we're
now
just going to
clicking
use
there
the quick selection tool, or the magic wand tool, and that's selecting all of our black here, and then we're just going to add a layer mask and invert it. And there we go. So we got our candles cut out here, and I'm just gonna clean that layer mask up real quick. We don't want our crazy brush anymore. We just have like a weird edge coming in here, so I just wanna quickly clean that up. And then what I'm gonna do is actually paint out the tops of the candles here. I don't want them. And so just paint them out. And now we have our candles ready to go, and so now we're just going to add this flame back in, and we're going to change these flames to screen so that we can get our flames back in and looking really, really nice. And then we're just gonna layer mask out the bottom of these candles here so that we don't have any of that. So we're kind of just separating this, and you could even just go like that with your selection tool. Let's delete that mask.
Jimmy said you didn't make a wish when you took out that. That's clever. I like your style.
All right, so now we got our flames and our candles separated, and we'll have to kind of get them into place. So let's see, let's go back to see what I did here. Did some perspective warping. Oh man, this is gonna be super fun. Redoing everything, starting from scratch.
You do what you need to do.
All right.
And I could always show a couple things on Photoshop for the iPad.
Yeah, let's do that while I get these candles into place.
Fantastic. Let's do this. I actually want to show this really. Like, first off, I have an issue with this, by the way, as we switch over. Here's Photoshop 1.0, by the way, running on this little emulator.
I love it.
I do have a little issue. I already have an issue that I'm running into, by the way. But you can see here it is. We can go to File, New. My scratch disk is already full. So I'm actually not even able to create anything, which I'll figure that out today. But this is the size that you would do it at. I was like, oh, whoa. Guess what? You can work in RGB color, but you didn't have a color. You quite possibly didn't have a color monitor. So that's like a whole thing. But yeah, I just have this scratch disk issue that I will work out later. But let's switch outside of that because I actually want to show you Photoshop on the iPad as I kind of move that over. And I want to just dive into select subject here if I could. All right. You can, I don't know if I'm helping.
Yeah, this is good. I got my candles into place, so.
Oh, it looks like I was trying out like some different things here in general. Obviously, I have this deer. I have a number of layers. I'll just duplicate this layer, do the same thing I usually do. Just kind of keeping that. And what I want to do is I want to select the deer, and typically you'd use one of the selection tools, the pen tool, maybe this quick selection tool, which you happen to have, right? I can kind of jump in and try to select this deer. But the new feature in here, as I hold down or do a long press on that selection icon, we have select subject. So this is the new thing as of this morning. I haven't even done it with this image, so I'm actually not sure what's going to happen. Oh, look at this. It did exactly what I wanted.
Awesome.
Select that deer, which is fantastic. Actually did a really good job. And from there, and I'll turn off that background layer and some of these other things. I have a lot of things. But anyways, let's just go ahead and max that out. You can see I have a number of photos back there that I'm kind of slowly getting rid of. You get the idea. But the key thing is I separated these two out. I can jump in and work with text. And let's just do like whatever. Just adding some text. But kind of diving into this, I have a lot more text controls as well. So first off, we do need refine edge. We know that because that's your next step. It's like, it did a pretty good job here, but we need to refine the edge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're actively working on that. Like internally, we're testing that, we're tasting that. We just don't want to release it because it's not 100%. But I can jump in, take this text, change it, and use actually a lot more text features that we have in here. No, I'm not going to select papyrus. I'm going kind of boring. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, so by the way, I'm going to point out, look, it says 288 because I have to drag this all the way up to the top. Oh, I can't go that way. You could always tap on it and we can go up to like 500, for instance, right? Or 800. So you can always kind of go, ooh, geez, ouch. You could always go beyond that, just so you know.
Cool.
800, like so, done. I want to stagger these out. I'm going to make this really fast, but all these options are new. So I can come in here and I can take an individual letter right here and we can kind of shift the baseline. Going right here, let's shift it up and just kind of having some fun with this. And by the way, I want to stretch some of this out, like this H, you get the idea. You could do whatever you want, but the fact that you have all these new all this new font control is awfully nice that you just didn't have before.
Yeah, so, that looks so cool. It's
anyways,
a great way to design posters and kind of get creative.
Yeah.
I need to start playing with it more often.
Yeah.
I barely use it.
Yeah, no, and it's fine. I will say that it's super nice if you're lucky enough to have an iPad with Apple Pencil. It's really nice and easy to kind of go in here and literally just use the lasso tool. It's almost the lasso tool. Is that a word that you would use? Because it's hard to work on the desktop. But right in here, it's like, oh, I can just kind of drag over that and select whatever I want. So it makes it super nice.
That's awesome.
And also when it comes to Meg Dale was talking about this, but if you wanted to paint hair or whatever else.
Yes.
The fact that you have that pressure sensitivity, if you don't have a Wacom, you obviously have that control in here. Here's a...
Yeah, that's so nice if you want to paint and like if you're, like in my case doing glow, like on this image that we've been working on, or, maybe you're like a digital artist and you're painting in Photoshop, like the iPad makes it so easy.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's what I would probably do with this, is like we were playing with, actually, I don't know if I was painting that in here, but like we want to add some glows just like you were doing. Here's the glow, clicking in here. We have the blend options, because that's what you'd want to do is like, we could try overlay. That actually gives it a lot of pop, but now I can start just like giving all those like a little more pop.
Awesome.
And then you were using like, was it linear light?
On the outer glow part was linear light.
Oh, okay.
And can you do that? Can you add like the blending adjustment or whatever they're called, the blending layers? Options?
Wait.
Like drop shadow and outer glow and all that?
None of that yet.
Okay.
So none of those layer styles yet. But what you can do is like, as I was working on this original, by the way, is we can add adjustment layers. And you can, this is why I'm glad everybody's watching. If you do a long press, you can say, hey, I'm going to add a whole adjustment layer. And this is going to be just hue and saturation. So we want to make that black and white. I'm just going to take that down.
Awesome.
And drag that underneath. But you can actually add that per layer. So like for this layer, if we want to add a lot of pop to it, we can say add a clipped adjustment layer. So hopefully people are seeing that. In this case, we'll do color balance and make it less green, maybe more magenta, but all I'm doing is just clipping that. You get the idea. Anyways, that was just like a quick tutorial.
I love it.
Font, actually I would say text controls, all those new text properties and select subject are the big ones, just so you know.
Yeah. Cool.
And, and by the way, like, it's cool because, so you're probably not going to do everything here, but you'll maybe get started or do some stuff, and then you sync it through Cloud Docs, and it's just going to be on your desktop, which is nice. Because that's where you're going to then continue.
Yeah, I think that's awesome for getting started on something, and like if you're on the go, like I was playing with it in the airport the other day and just like making little things. People are probably looking at me like, what is she doing?
I think it's kind of nice just that like you just don't have to have your laptop with you like everywhere.
Exactly.
It's nice being able to work in bed.
And the Apple Pencil is a game changer. It like allows you to do so much that you can't do with a mouse or a trackpad or...
Yeah, because we were talking yesterday, like neither one of us have gotten into the Wacom tablets or anything like that, because it's weird working down here.
Yeah, and
when
like
you
looking.
See the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, very disjointed. But if you're lucky enough to work actually on the image, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
And this is looking good. We got our candles in.
Yeah, got it into place. I have, again, the candle separated by candle and flame. So let's just turn that off. We got the flames and we got the candles. So now what we're gonna do is just turn these blue, because I really don't want them being multicolor and kind of crazy looking. So let's first work on the candles. We're just gonna add an adjustment layer, go hue saturation, and we're gonna turn that colorize on. And that allows us to make everything one color versus like changing it all to multicolor. So let's just drag that up to blue, bring the saturation up, and we can kind of get that nice kind of aqua color that we want. Super simple.
I'm into it. I like how there's actually a variation in that teal color.
Yeah, me too. I really like that.
You know?
And then I just want to show you guys, if we don't have colorize on, you can see if we start changing the hue, it just changes like every different candle color. So it makes it all crazy looking. But that little colorize clicker right there makes it so simple to change the color of everything and give it like a beautiful look. So now we're gonna go to the flames and do the same thing. So we'll just add a hue saturation layer and colorize it. We don't want to do that. And we're gonna bring that into the same area and bring the saturation up. So in this one, you might not need to colorize it because it is all one color, but we're gonna just do it to avoid any little like spillover down here in the candles and avoid it from looking weird, so.
Yeah, good. Thanks for bringing that up, Jimmy, in terms of like the newer Macs have sidecar, which is what Magdale was showing us.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So,
mean,
yeah, my Mac is ancient. I feel like that's why I can't get it to
Oh.
work. But, yeah,
Yeah,
I think
no problem.
sidecar is good.
It is cool. I mean, honestly, if you have your laptop open right there running Photoshop, like, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Use the other one for whatever you want.
Yeah. So then with this piece, what I wanted to do was add kind of some holes to it to make it look like it was coming out of the icon. Like Photoshop decided, it's my birthday today, I'm gonna push candles out. So you can see I just added them like that, and I'll show you guys how I did this. So that was super simple. I just made a couple of ellipses, and let's see, just do that again. Turn these off.
And those are all in one, looks like they're all in one folder.
Yeah, I put them all in one folder so that I could just keep everything nice and organized, but I just, super simple, dragged a little ellipse out like that, and then let's make sure it's kind of like a darker color.
And it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Sweet.
And then I just put it behind the candle so it started to look real. And then you could also kind of like just layer mask this out. And then all I did was just copy this and then drag it and start placing them.
Yeah, yeah. Now thinking about this, I wonder, is the outer shell that's glowing? Like, I'm wondering if these circles should be like, what if they are like white or lighter? Because technically they're a hole within this shape.
Right. It's actually funny that you said that, because that was one of the things I tried when I was working on it, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, if this thing's glowing, it should be white, and like these candles are coming out, and it looked like super obnoxious. But
Interesting. And I think what the next step would be is like, yeah, but then you almost need a like, there almost needs to be like a little bit, first of all, I mean, maybe that white's a little intense. Like maybe it's like just a little toned down a little bit. But then is there like
glow coming out?
A glow on top of those candles? Like it needs to just like the same thing you have around here. It's like just a little, I don't know.
Yep, exactly. And that's exactly what I was working on when I was doing this. And so we can kind of take a look at that. I started to add some glow from the candles a little bit. So with the darker holes that I added, this is what it looks like. And then you could kind of come up here, and let's say if we wanted to do even more, like if we did go with these white holes and it was really glowing, then you could start to, even just painting in on a white layer, like. And maybe
totally interested in because this is very interesting. I like it's interesting.
Maybe we do.
I personally like the glow. I love that look there, and I would even literally just spray on top of it so you get some of that haziness over the top. But I don't know. But we're open to see what you think, Jimmy and Steve and Christopher.
Let's see. And then we could even add like a glow to this. Bring that up.
And I would probably just use a brush and paint on top of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we need to do that. I don't like that.
But we'll try it out. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Anna McNaught here. Photoshop's 30th birthday.
Oh, yeah.
It's just hitting its prime. It's like, it's done showing off for its high school classmates. It's more in touch with itself.
Yes.
And, but is ready to branch out into other mediums like iPad and stuff. Cool.
Yeah. So we're starting to get something happening here. So for those of you that are just tuning in or seeing this, what we're playing with right now is the difference between having like a dark hole that will be shadowed. Let me just pop that shadow on there that I painted on. So my idea was to have the candles kind of like they're coming up out of this icon. And so then we were also playing with the idea of having it be like the icons glowing from the inside and then these candles are popping up. So kind of two different ways to do this.
And would love to hear your feedback as well, like what's working, any suggestions. I like how you're toning that, like whatever you're doing right now is like working.
Yeah, that looks cool.
I still think it's like a little bright, like maybe it doesn't need to be white, but maybe it's more of a just like a teal.
Yeah, let's see. We need some music.
Oh, I know. I know they're hearing the music. We're not hearing a thing. And it's supposed to be a birthday party. What?
I know. Let's go.
Maybe make the back edge would be in shadow a little, maybe. The back edge. Yeah, I mean, that's tough. Like, if you're talking shadow, that's a whole other thing. I think this light is coming from all over, so I honestly don't think there'll be much of a shadow. It's just kind of where this light is spilling onto is the thing. Yeah, that's good. I like what you're doing there.
Yeah, just little paintings. So you can see when I was working on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's looking super cool.
So yeah, you're right though, Eric. Good point. Blur the white shadow, the white holes a little bit, and that's kind of what you're doing is by adding this haze to it. You're kind of blurring it a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe is it more teal? I don't know. Is the white, is it too bright? And I almost want to you almost need to kind of zoom out and see how it looks.
I know. Let's see if
further
we can blur
out.
this a little. I feel like the only thing with blurring it is then it starts to not look like a hole anymore. And it starts to look like the candle's kind of melting into place or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a
try
fun
zooming
little
out and just like see
okay.
how it looks like farther away. So yeah, there obviously gets like pretty muddy.
I know, that's the problem with
It's like
this.
we almost got into too much detail there.
Yeah.
Which that's my fault, because you were doing this yesterday. Since you do a lot of Instagram stuff, like you work at that I saw you work at that smaller size.
Yeah, I tend to, when I'm working, I'll be like working on something out here, and then I'm like, oh, I should zoom in. But, you know, you really want to see how everything looks as a whole. If you start working on these little details, like in here, and then you zoom out, and it's like...
It's all lost.
It looks
it's all
so
getting, like,
weird.
Really, like, it starts to get even, like, a little muddy or not.
Yeah.
Thank you for zooming in, though, because I did tell you. Can you zoom in on that?
Yeah.
Like, totally messing with your method. Yeah, I think it's good. I would say for that white just needs to be the brighter teal.
Okay.
That's all.
So should we try that?
I would somehow, if there's an easy way to try that, it might be just painting with that teal over the top of it a little bit.
Should the whole be white too? Or I mean teal?
Yeah, but I would actually paint on, I
Okay.
mean, I would just try painting on top of it because that might be easiest. And just seeing what happens.
Let's put it on top of the candles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sam agrees. Good to see you, Sam. At least see you online. Helping us out. Yes, Rasim says the shadow's a little bright. Yeah, perfect. So we are heading the right direction, trying to tone it down a little bit. And make it just teal. Is it on top of...
It's on top of the candles.
And I would put it on top of everything. I wouldn't even clip it.
Okay.
I would just put it on top of all that junk. It's not junk, I'm sorry. All that stuff. I would not clip it. Now just, try to play with your pass. I don't know, like...
I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah, that's okay. But we can at least zoom out. Let's just zoom out, because I think that's probably, like...
Yeah, that's
heading
starting
in
to
the
look
right
better.
direction.
It's not as...
So now it's just catching that light from that element. Because these are just like, they're almost too, that's like too much detail there. You would never get, it's almost too sharp when you zoom out.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, okay, cool. Thank you, Christopher Herbert's like, I'm not feeling the candles at any capacity. It's over-accessorizing, in my opinion. Which is a great point, because I think you know, you need to you make things big, and then you need to like edit things down. And Magdiel does a good job of making these kind of big, but then he also edits down because it seems like he adds lots of effects.
Totally.
But his work become very graphic. I really like that, though. I don't think it's over-accessorizing. I think that looks pretty cool.
I think it's looking cool. And yeah, I totally agree, Chris. I feel like, you know, if I was making this just to make the icon or something, or in most of my work, I wouldn't have added candles like this because I think it takes away from the icon a little bit. But due to the fact it's Photoshop's birthday, you know, you need that element to kind of convey the idea. And sometimes you sacrifice those little things to get an idea across, and you know,
I don't think it honestly,
give and take.
Yeah, I don't think it adds that much of like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Detail to it or whatever.
Yeah. So
but I like that middle part.
And I mean, yeah, we can see what it would look like without the candles.
And that also looks really good too.
Yeah, that looks cool in its own. You know, just like clearly love Photoshop.
Into it. Eric says it's Eric Samuelson. Less is more on them candles. Oh, and thank you. RV brings up a good point. Using 2 different windows for one document, like one at regular size. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah. Go to Window. Let's take a look at this together.
Is it? Oh yeah, like this, right?
No. We need a new window. Anywhere it says like, new window for this file, yes. There we go, we opened it up. You have other files there, but now you have 2 of those exact same files open.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You could do it a number of ways. There's also the navigator panel that you could use, and it's like going to give you like a little thumbnail. But now this one could be at like your full size off to the side, and then you could have your detailed version.
So we could do it like that.
Yeah, and then drag that, you can, whatever. I don't want to tell you what to do. But that's the problem. When you click on it, it goes away. So
yeah.
You need to drag that to the border, and then you'll have that snapping in there.
Gotcha, okay.
Now, go ahead and let's try it. Drag it. Drag this guy until over here until that vertical border highlight.
There we go.
Yeah, you know how to do it.
Okay, yeah. That's
and then it's Command R to get rid of the borders. Command R. Ready? Boom. Yes.
Sweet. Ah, love it. So then we can click over here and zoom in and see what's happening. So
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's helpful. That's really good.
Ooh, and iPad. Okay, I don't know what the and iPad is, but the whole idea of using the sidecar and having that separate, using sidecar just as like a separate display is a very clever idea.
Yeah. Someone said this is why 2 screens are so cool. I totally agree. Having the dual monitors. I used to work like that at home, and it was so nice being able to see things side by side. Because like,
and you get
working on a laptop and not having a big screen is definitely tough.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So we can this is the final one that I did the other day, and we can kind of like look at, you know, what I did with these candles.
You know what
here.
we could also even, I'm thinking about this. Open to suggestions. What are you thinking? Like, there's other ideas that we could like explore. We actually only have less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So never mind. I'm sorry. Design feedback.
We could get back into it after the...
I'm so sorry. I just looked up and I was like, oh, shoot. But I think something fun to try would be like, if those candles are, yellow or gold, and how that interacts with the whole piece, because it have to be pretty subtle. Blue, there's going to be more blue everywhere, so you'd have to really kind of dial that in just right.
Exactly, yeah, and that's actually the way I was originally going with this, was the candles were their natural flame color, and then I started to try to like, let's go over to this one.
And I don't even know, like, and it would have like a soft glow. I just don't know how that would look. But.
Yeah, I started to paint like some orange on my cheek here and in my hair, and it started to look so messy, like the orange of the candles with the blue, and then like painting it on my cheek, like it looked really weird. And so that's when I started thinking about the dual lighting. And I think if you were to do this with 2 colors, you might even want to use 2 lights and have your blue light in your hand and have someone holding like an orange light up by your face. So realistically, the icon would be glowing down here in your hand, and the candles would be catching the light on your face.
Yeah,
that
that's
makes
true.
sense.
And by the way, like, and who's to say whether honestly the candles will be casting like that much light?
Right.
Because you're talking, this is 1/20th of
Exactly.
this. So it might not even, like literally if those were the original color and then it just had a super soft
Tiny
glow.
little, yeah, because the blue is so overpowering that it might just completely wipe out that orange anyways. So yeah, we're getting some good ideas here. I'm gonna delete my Instagram post and start from scratch.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm just like
Why?
crying on the inside.
No, you're not. It's fine. You're like one little thing.
You guys are tearing me apart.
Nobody's even gonna notice.
I know.
That's funny.
So yeah, we're getting towards the end here. We can keep playing with these candles after the design challenge, but then we'll look at a little bit more glow and finishing this bad boy up.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
I think it sounds fantastic. And we might take some photos later today.
Ooh, with
And
our
just
lights.
do something, maybe whatever you want tomorrow. But I'm happy we have you for 3 days.
I know.
As well.
Hopefully we take some photos tonight because I don't have a game plan for tomorrow. So.
We will, and I think that's what is exciting. Is like take what you've learned and know, and just like create something new. Is like super fun around talented individuals.
I think that would be awesome. And tomorrow we'd love to get you guys extra chatty in the chat and sharing some ideas so that we can really make this like fully live. And so I won't have anything planned. So we'll just like build something with no kind of like preconceived ideas.
Some good source photos, and we might come up with ideas. So if we just come armed with like some assets to use.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
I like even the idea of like particles. Like I love the idea of like finding a really good particle brush or making one or something. I think that's a good idea. So thank you for all your input, Michelle. But we're not done. We're just going to dive into the design feedback right now anyways.
All right.
Oh yeah. So it is day 2, just so you know. Blend modes yesterday, layer effects today. Design a book cover with realistic embossed effects using layer effects, which you were actually doing today as well. So you can go ahead and get started based on those assets, which are right here. And these are like just some Adobe stock textures. And this is what you want to like emboss with text. Just FYI. So I'm just kind of giving you, a whole idea of what you'd get. Let's see what people made, including Kathleen, as we take a look right in here. Here's some from yesterday, so cool. And then we get into day 2, layer effects. So I love this idea, by the way. So yesterday was all about creating a postcard, and today is like embossing it and putting it on things, and that's kind of what you have going on here. It's like a continuation of that design. P40 challenge 2, cool. Photos hop 30. Just be careful about where you cut those letters.
Yeah.
Photos hop 30. I love it. Sorry. Van Damme, who's gonna be our boss someday, because Van Damme's probably. How old are you, Van Damme? Like 10? I don't know. Something like that. He really is. 10 years old. It says right here.
What?
How old are you? Yeah, it says right here.
That's awesome. That's like my little 5-year-old Christmas card, but you're way ahead of the game on
I know.
this one.
That's what I'm saying. He's gonna be our boss someday.
Yeah.
And that's why I try to be so nice to him.
Well, I love the zipper idea.
Yeah.
Super cool. I'm really into that.
Totally. And a good job with this, like the whole idea of embossing or debossing. Like it does look like it's coming up, and lots of effects there, which is good.
Yeah, and I think like the zipper looks really cool. Looks like it's popping off. I feel like it's a book I would definitely pick up and look at the back and see what it's about. Be like, maybe it's about politics. I don't know. Unzip the truth. It looks super
I know,
cool.
right? Or compelled.
I know.
That's exactly what you want a book to do. This is perfect. Yeah,
totally.
Works on many levels. Did great. So not a lot to review here.
Oh yeah, we only got
in general.
3.
They've only been working on it for a little bit. But I'm sorry, let's take a look at Andreas blend modes. Happy birthday, Photoshop. This is cool. This is actually from day 1. But
that actually kind of looks like what Photoshop posted on their Instagram story today. They had like a very interesting blend mode thing that said, you know, happy birthday. I reshared it in my story too. If you guys haven't seen it, it's really cool. Go wish Photoshop a happy birthday today.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the colors of all this. I think this is a cool one.
I know. I like the look of the planet behind the Milky Way. It's kind of like very sci-fi and interesting. And then having like the ocean stuff. I think the cool thing with this is it's showing some like so many different things you can do with Photoshop. It's really like a let your mind be free type thing.
Yeah, totally. And they're doing what you called yourself out on doing yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, you have the stars over the moon. You're like, wait, the stars shouldn't be over the moon.
I was like, oh my God.
But it, like aesthetically, like it looks cool, like you're saying.
Yeah, because you don't know if
into...
that's some like planet in a different universe or something. You know, I'm getting all into like the metaphysics of it, but it's super cool.
Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, and we can just say good job. Like there's a little bit of a halo there, but yeah, this is super strong.
Love it.
Great job. So there's just a couple of these. Gradient overlays. Kathleen's just kind of pointing out some other things that you can do.
Oh, cool.
Which is awfully nice. Gradients are awesome to use because I think gradients are finally like a first-class citizen in Photoshop with the new gradient panel.
They're no longer like weird colors and rainbow, and now it actually, I actually used Photoshop gradients as my highlight cover photos on Instagram. I just like picked some of my favorites, and they're beautiful. Like I love the colors. We can look at those.
Like as a highlight? Okay. I'm just going to this. Megdale helped me with this, but in general, I'm just going to open this up just because we do have time.
Yeah.
So this is kind of how I organized them, just so you could see.
Cool.
Yours might be different, but you just dump everything into one folder, and then I actually even made it a little bit larger. So this is the large thumbnail.
Cool.
I actually do end up creating a new layer, but you can just kind of drop that on. They should be actually changing when I click on them. Okay, good. And you're talking about like if you did a color cast. So if we change this to like overlay.
No. I just took the the gradient, and I like saved it as a JPEG, and I set it as my highlight cover photo on Instagram.
Oh.
So not like a highlight, like a highlight.
I like it.
Yeah. Like if you go to my
just the
Instagram real
gradients.
quick, you'll see exactly what I mean.
I will.
Throw that Instagram in there.
Oh yeah. Oh, so by the way.
See?
Love it.
Yeah, so now they're like set all along there. So just, repping Photoshop a bit more.
Yeah, I'm into it, and it looks really good. It just looks really good. I will say when you're doing this, by the way, we're talking about when you add gradients. So I just dropped in a gradient right here. Let me actually just change this to, this is just something I need to point out if they are using gradients. Ugh, I don't know why my computer's going so slow as well. But you could obviously change that color and or drop them on and change it that way. It gets a little bit different if you're dealing with fonts really fast.
Yeah, I didn't know about that drag and drop method that you showed me yesterday. That was super cool.
Yeah, I just drag and drop them on there because otherwise whatever layer you have selected, it might apply the gradient to it. But let's do 30 right in here. So it's going to be different if I click on this gradient right here. When I click on it, it actually doesn't apply it as like a layer. It puts it as a layer effect. So that brings us back to that gradient overlay that we see like so. I'm going to pick a different font. Okay, good times. All right, let's go ahead and see if there are others out here. Good job.
I'm over here playing with gradients now.
Yeah, I might switch to you because it's just like, Photoshop's like, I'm going to go ahead and stop now.
I know, I don't know what's going on. Everyone must be in Photoshop or something. I don't know, it's like lagging.
If too many people are in Photoshop, then yours will start to slow down. I don't know.
Could you imagine if that was true? Oh,
Meg Deal inspired, yeah. Am I saying his name right? Meg Deal?
I'm not sure.
Meg Deal? I don't know. I just call him my hero. He is my current
He's my hero, too. He inspired me so much yesterday, and I was like, I went home like, oh my God, yes.
I know. You're just like, what would you do here? How about this? How would you do this?
I know, it's like,
what about this?
Teach me your ways. That's what I love about everyone I meet here, and like even everyone I meet out in the regular world is like, you know, there's so many different things that you don't even think about that you can get inspired by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. What's up, Rocky?
All right,
good to see you. Rocky knows all the tricks as well. Good to have you here.
What am I doing here? Okay, so I'm just gonna continue adding some things here that I did to make this look a bit more realistic, or not realistic, because this is not realistic. But so before we were doing the design review, we were just playing with these candles here and debating between having them glowing coming out of the icon or having them kind of like Tron sinking into the icon where they could like pop out. So 2 different kind of methods to do this. And then let's just see here. So then I started playing with adding more glow to everything. So I just want to get rid of that and zoom out here. So then I added a gradient map and put it over a black layer and then started painting in some extra glow here. So you can see, let's zoom in.
And that's on the... Oh, there we are. Like, that's on the candles? See, I like that haziness.
Yeah, and then I added
works.
a bit more of glow around everything to give it like that haziness, and then kind of like paint it over my hand a tiny bit too. And you know, we could even do that a bit more, just adding another layer there, painting with white here. So this is, again, I'm working on a gradient map, which I teach in my glow course fully throughout the entire thing. But this amazing adding gradient map allows you to paint with this like epic glow.
Oh, the gradient map.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, okay. Yeah, you could do that.
That is like my favorite thing ever.
Here's another way to approach that is also using, so that's what we want for our like our sparkles.
Yes.
So you could actually, for that layer, add a layer style that gives everything an outer glow. That outer glow is set to linear, whatever you want, but that's basically what you would do to give things a glow.
Ooh, okay, cool. Cool. Let's see, how can we get back to, I want to go back to our little sparkle brush that we were working on. Let's,
Oh yeah, crank it up. This is really good to do. Scattering, crank it up, yep. Color dynamics, yep.
Oh, yeah.
See, look at that. Isn't that nice? You were just using that gradient map on it, and that looks good.
Yeah.
But again, you have that depth, you have that bright color in the center, and then it kind of fades out.
Yeah, and then you could like make this kind of like a really small little detail, you know. Let's just go, you know, if you wanted like that kind of like particle, what is it called? Particle separation look or something, you know, or if you just wanted like a few little sparkles around everything.
Yeah, it's hard to get it. Oh, actually, you need to be like also, because that's what that's looking good, like these little sparkles and whatever.
Yeah.
But the spacing, like that's one thing I noticed, the spacing needs to be stretched out with these. And actually click on the brush tip shape at the top. I'll see what that does. Okay, spacing right there. So that'll kind of space it out a little bit more in case you want more whatever.
So now it adds much more of like a, you know.
Yeah, it's not so dense. It was just too dense before, and you know.
Like put them in the background.
All right.
You can get crazy. These are kind of cool though, because I think you could do something creative with this. Like if this was underwater or something, make these look like bubbles, you know, kind of add a whole bunch of different things.
I'm into it. Yeah, that's fun too.
So I'm gonna turn that off, but yeah, let's see. So if we wanted to just kind of come in and add any extra glow around this, or no, I don't want my sparkle brush anymore, or, you know, even paint in a different color. So
I just love that.
Which?
Just when you paint with that glow.
I know, it's insane.
Hopefully can you actually, did you show them the gradient map? Can you like double click on the gradient map just so they can see what it's made of?
Let me actually build this from scratch so you guys can see.
Okay.
So this is what I do. I'm giving away all my secrets today. Make a new layer, and we're just gonna fill it with black. And then we're gonna set it to screen mode. And then we're going to add a gradient map on top of that. And then double click in your gradient map, and we want this to be black down here. And then we want to click in the middle and add the color that we want. So let's go, let's just do something crazy for the heck of it. Let's go to like an orange. And then we want this to be white. So essentially what you're doing here is you're telling Photoshop to have these black shadows and then have white be all the way, purely white, and then have your color in the middle. So you're giving this dynamic range for building your glow.
Yeah.
So then you click OK, and then add a layer. Let's just drag that in between here. And then we just want to make sure that our gradient map is clipped to the layer and that our layer is clipped to the black. And then what you're gonna do is just start to paint with white inside this layer. And then boom, you start to
I wonder if you need to even have that black layer.
I think you do.
Try to just do it without. Because that's a good way to kind of test the gradients, but maybe...
I don't...
And I would just do that, okay. Clip it, now clip it. Okay, now paint. And you got to paint on the
yeah. Got to be on the right layer. Yeah, see, it doesn't give that effect. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about the black. I don't know. I mean, I wonder because when you're painting with color dodge,
I know why.
Is it transparency shapes layer? What?
Well, because it's affecting everything, when you add the black, it's kind of considering that there's the white of the brush, and then there's the black of the background. So it's kind of interpreting grays in there because it's interacting with that background. It makes sense in my head.
Yeah.
But thank you for letting us know that this little trick.
I know. I'm like, no,
don't be
shared
scared.
My secret.
Nobody's gonna. People will be like, oh, they'll forget it. People are like, what was that one thing? Oh well.
I know.
Oh well. Everything's gonna be. But that looks really good. And the cool thing is, you could actually change the color at any time.
Exactly. You can go in and even like this one. That we did the glow on, you can change that too. So
and by the way, if you double click on that, like just so you know that they're available as well, like if you double click on that, like you could always save this brush if you wanted to save it, or not, just call it new, whatever. But I know people will chime into this, but go back into those gradients, because just to show you where there's new ones, if you do that little gear up there at the top. I don't know if we added this the other day. Oh, no, that's not it. But scroll down, see if we already added them.
Oh, yeah, the
legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
And then you want to go into the photographic toning. Yes. So now if you click on some of these, especially the ones that are like blue to auburn and to white, are super nice. But anyways,
that's cool.
You get the idea.
Let's see if we can kind of paint with that glow. Oh yeah, that gives you, it makes like a weird edge because it has so much, but it's like a really pretty color though.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's that. So anyways, there's more in there because you don't want to make your own.
Yeah. Let's see, let's change.
Sorry, Jimmy, I was just reading his comment. I'm gonna put a gradient, click here, put on black layer, clip these, and now there's glow. Ha, that's all you do. You make it sound so simple. Oh, just click here, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know. Honestly, this is one of those things like commit it to memory. Know that what blend mode is on that black layer?
Screen.
Screen. That's the big thing, if you ask me.
Yeah. So that's interesting here that it's adding, if you do a gradient map like that, then it's adding it over top and not, I guess because you don't have the black and the white. You need those two extremes to create the glow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just go back to this, add black, and then there we go. There we got rid of that weird. No.
Yeah, so that's good. Valentes mentions you could also make a brush, like, because you went and made your brush you could use path with a pen tool and stroke that with your brush.
Oh yeah.
I think that's nice when you want the variance in stroke thickness and you're just using a mouse.
Yeah.
My wish, so again, if you know anybody who works for Adobe, you could ask them to make it editable after the fact. So if that stroke was tied back to the vector path, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I just did something even crazier here.
Woo!
Now it looks like a big
Love it.
amoeba or something.
I'm into it though.
It's super cool.
These are like new ideas. This is stuff to even like think about for later, for like tomorrow or
yeah.
you know.
Like, so with this one, all I did was adding, 2 colors to the gradient map instead. Open it up. We could even add another one. Like, let's just get crazy here.
Yeah, into it.
And then kind of doing like what we were doing yesterday afterwards. With the... Look, it's even making its own little green color there. So, if you wanted to make rainbows with this, like, oh my God, so many crazy things. Like...
Yeah, which is awesome. Like, because again, you could change this later, but this already has such a pop to it.
Woo! Photoshop is exploding rainbows. Yeah. So I definitely don't ever do anything this extreme, but it just goes to show like how crazy you can get with glow and how much fun you can have with it. And then you can come in and start doing like what we were doing yesterday, where we actually go and liquefy this.
Oh, yeah.
When we were hanging out.
Yeah, you do your thing.
Let's see what happens.
That's also a fun thing to do. Again, you're not,
Oh,
that's the idea. Yeah. Because you don't have to nail the perfect stroke initially. You can go back in and use liquefy and get some fun results here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, still got like couple minutes here. If anyone has any questions, happy to answer.
I think we just sit here quietly.
I know, just sit here and stare at the screen.
Let's act like it's frozen.
And
so we'll just have about 3 minutes left. Sorry if there's a glitch in service there sometimes with the, bandwidth and such.
So
Prime lightsaber right there. Yana, let me show you a tip. So since you do Instagram, and I showed you this yesterday, because now that we have this finished, we could post to Instagram. Maybe we want to send it to our phone.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and click right up there.
All right. Yeah, come up here.
And I don't think you have your phone with you, but go to AirDrop. I'll actually turn on my phone just so we could see something.
Or let's try AirDropping it to your iPad even. I wonder if that would work.
Yeah. Click there and see what happens. Oh, that was, yep. Share
Sweet.
photo. Accept.
This is such a nice new feature, like just being able to share between devices and, send it directly to your phone. Like I always export, save it as a JPEG, and then put it in Dropbox, and then look at that, it's on Paul's iPad. Click of a button.
Pretty cool, right? So nice.
I love it.
Yeah, hopefully you appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. I think hopefully everybody had a good time. I think we're winding down.
Make sure you all wear blue today, just like us.
Yeah. There we are, wearing blue. Yeah. So thank you so much. We'll show you the banana later. Where's the banana?
Oh yeah, I need
Out of context, that doesn't make any sense. Like, where's
I need
the
to get a banana on my Photoshop. I don't even know how to do that. So Steve wants us to add a bite mark. Well, maybe we can add that later.
We could do a bite mark.
Some point.
We could do plenty of things, but I think people have a lot of good ideas, and based on what we learned today into tomorrow, it's going to be pretty fun what we develop.
Yeah, thank you for everyone's ideas, by the way. That was inspiring for me to kind of get some new feedback on this piece.
Yes, for sure. You ready for this? This is how you do the banana, since you asked. And since we still have time, right down here, this is your edit toolbar. That's what you want to click on, those 3 dots, right? You'll go into that, go into edit toolbar, and you can edit your toolbar, but the thing is you want to hold on. I'm pretty sure it's Option and Shift, and then you click Done. I guess we'll find out. Option Shift, click Done, and when you hold down Option Shift, click Done.
Option Shift Done?
Yep.
Oh my God, I have a banana.
There's your banana as well. Your life is complete now.
I am good to go. I can retire young. I got a banana in my Photoshop. Let's go.
Let's go. That's awesome. Well, please actually stick around because Megdal's up next, Megdal Lopez, and we have... Oh, I'm so sorry. Andrea's up next with XD Daily Creative Challenge, which is awesome. You're learning so much today, but hang out with us all day and learn lots of cool things, as we're even doing as well.
Yes.
And happy birthday, Photoshop. We're going to go have some cake. That cake right over there. Let's go eat some cake.
Thanks
Stick
so much
around.
for joining us.
Thank you, Anna. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.